So what I want to do is I want to tell you what's on your test. I'll give you lots of hints, and since you guys have come here, you're going to get some extra special hints that those people that haven't come here or don't watch the tutorial are going to get. Again, I will not ever surprise you on the written section of a test. On the multiple choice section, I will almost never surprise you. I will reserve the right to put one nasty curveball because you guys are here. If you're paying attention today, I will drop a few hints, and somewhere in those hints you will actually hear what the curveball question is, because you might notice I start emphasizing something or something like that. So I want to talk about the written section first of all. The test is made up, I think it's out of 39, I think, and there is 7 multiple choice, and multiple choice. 7 multiple choice, and then 5 written. 4 of the written are worth 7 marks. The 5th one is worth 4 marks, and it's a using principles of physics right to explain question, sort of like we've had in the notes. And by right to explain, what I really mean is convince me of something. It doesn't have to be a paragraph. You can use numbers, and I'll probably drop a hint about how that works as well. Okay? Each written question, aside from the using principles of oh, by the way, I should also say, you can write this down if you want to, or if you're staying till the end, I'll print this for you. And it's probably faster if I do that, and then I can fly, and I'm not waiting for you to copy stuff down. So if you want, if you think you learn better by writing stuff down, knock yourself out, write stuff down. But if you just want to kind of focus, I'll happily print this up for you and email it out to the rest of my students as well. Each written question, except the using principles of physics question, is worth 7 marks. What that means is, hey, don't leave a written blank. That's one of the reasons why my method in teaching you has and will always be write something down. You're gonna, by the end of the year, when you see this type of question, oh, I do this right. This is my starting point. I write this down. When you see this type of question, oh, you know what? Dueck says do this right away. When you see this kind of question, and also it's nice time. You're no longer blank. You feel better. You got the juices flowing and ready to go. What's going to be on there? Definitely horizontally from a cliff. Key idea. What's the key idea if I launch horizontally from a cliff? It's horizontally means it's not. We are going to go. Okay, horizontally. So what we are talking about here is, here's my picture. You know what, let's do it so that it looks the same as on the test. I think on the test I have it going to the right, so let's do it like that. Okay? Where you have some velocity, some height, and some range. Key idea. So let's suppose I said this was 92 meters per second. What's Vx? Too slow. What's Vx? 92. And if I launch horizontally from a cliff, what's Vy initial?
0.
Yes, there can't be that hesitation and gap though. 0. 0. Which makes it way easier. Anytime something is 0, yay, stuff cancels along the way. 0. What's the most common mistake? Kids want to put the 92 right there. They want to put it in for the vertical. Hopefully I've gone on a rant about never put a vertical into a horizontal or horizontal into a vertical. Yeah?
When you print it out, is your drawings going to go on there?
This, for the test, yeah. I put a drawing. For the written section, there's a drawing each time. I think for the multiple choice, usually.
No, when you're printing this out for us.
Oh, it'll look like this. Okay. Yeah. I thought you were asking on the test. So let's do one. Example. Heck, let's, I didn't put any, I just put a speed on there. Let's put some numbers. So here's a horizontal projectile from a cliff. I think I said V equals 92 meters per second. And there's 2 possibilities. Possibility number 1, I can give you the height, 117 meters. And I can say, find the range. Remember, the range is really dx. This is a projectile. I am going to go with a t-table, which is technically components, but I'm not going to need to do any trig to break it into components, Tyler. I'm going to start out by saying, hey, horizontal, vertical. And the key with horizontally from a cliff is AX equals, what's the horizontal acceleration always? 0. AY equals, okay? And because we're horizontally from a cliff, what's Vy initial? 0. What's Vy final? Not 0. Not 0. I'm telling you, it's not stopped when it hits the ground. It's stopped after it hits the ground. I need one more thing. Why negative?
Because it's dropping.
Why did I put it in that column? Because the distance they gave me is vertical. Okay? Now I could find time. The equation for a projectile that we're, unless, the equation that you're going to use to find time every time for a projectile is this one. Right? What's nice here? Yay. Why? Because I'm launching horizontally. If we didn't, if we were launched at an angle, if there was an initial, come on in, if there was an initial vertical velocity, this would be yucky. This would be quadratic equation, okay? I said to everybody, if you want to watch, I can print this up for you after, or if you feel you learn better writing stuff down, that's totally up to you, but if you guys want, that way I can fly, okay? So, oh, I need to get the t by itself. How would I get the t by itself? What will I do with this 1/2? That's the same as having a 2 times the d, right? And then how, oh, divide by a, and then I heard somebody say, that's t squared. How to get rid of a squared? Square root. What this means here, Nick, is no quadratic formula. If you launch horizontally from a cliff, that's a nicer one. That's going to be one of your written questions, okay? In this case, it would be 2 negative 117 negative 9.8. Two times negative 117 divided by negative 9.8 square root. 4.88. Is this my final answer? No, I'd carry some extra sig figs for the time. Like you could say 4.9. I'm telling you, your range is going to be off by a fair chunk. You could say 4.89, and you'd probably be okay. You know what? Since I know I'm going to use this, I'm going to go 4.8865. What did this question want me to find? The range. How do I find the range? Well, now I would transfer this time into the horizontal column. 4.8865 seconds. Once again, I'm looking for an equation that has a, and again, you guys haven't had me make sure you know you can bring the yellow formula sheets to the test. You should bring the yellow formula sheets to the test. Those are the ones that I said you don't write on. The blue ones you've made notes on. You can make whatever cheat notes you want to. The yellow ones you bring to the test. Make sure you bring a calculator. What's the equation that has A, V, T, and D in it? Which one?
Bottom right one.
Can you read it to me?
The D equals VI T plus a half AT squared.
Why did Clayton waste breath? It's the right equation, but why don't I need to write this?
Because A is 0.
Most common mistake number 2, kids want to put the negative 9.8 in there. Hopefully I've gone on my multiple rants about, and I got to stand up and pick the chair because pick up the chair, it always adds to it. Don't you put a horizontal into a vertical. Don't you put a vertical into a horizontal. Vectors, vectors, vectors. If I can beat that one mistake out of you, that'll take care of most everything else. Then almost everything else is plug and chug. It's complicated plug and chug, don't get me wrong, but it's reasonable plug and chug, okay? In this case, it would be the 92 times the 4.8865. Oh, hey, why don't I be clever? since I paid money for this good calculator and used my answer button. Haha. 449.5, I'll call it 450. There's the range. What else could I ask on the multiple choice? Because this is a lot of work. Kyle, on the multiple choice, I could give you the same situation, but instead of saying find the range, I could just say how long till it hits the ground. In other words, you'd find T and quit. Fair enough. Then I'd assume you could do the other stuff later. What else could I ask? Well, here I gave you a vertical distance, and I said find a horizontal range. I could reverse it. I could give you the horizontal range, give you a vertical distance. I'll do one like that. I won't finish it. I'll just get it started. The nice thing is if I give you the horizontal distance, it's no longer a quadratic. It's way easier. You don't have to deal with the squared things. So let's do one like this. There's my horizontal projectile. Let's give it a velocity. 83, you say? Sure. Oh, what was the score in the Blue Jays game? You know what? 2-1. There. 21 meters per second. Why not? And this time, instead of telling you the height, I'm going to say, hey, what is the height? But I'm going to then have to tell you the range. Let's say it traveled, let's go something in the hundreds. Let's make it go fairly far. How about 193.2? I don't know why I said 3 and wrote 2. My brain is weird. Meters. Okay. Is this a projectile? Yes, it is. I would start the same way. I'll do my t-table right here so you can see it next to the picture if that's okay. I would start the same way. I would say, okay, I have horizontal, I have vertical. AX is 0. AY, negative 9.8. I hope, and again, I don't like using the word no-brainer because you need to know your physics to make it a no-brainer, but I hope that step is becoming like a, instinctive. Then the rest I adjust to the question. This is horizontal, so I know Vx, 21. I do know Vy initial, 0. Don't you dare put the 21 there. Kids don't like putting zeros. Zeros are nice. They're our friends. It's a nice round number, and it makes the math so much easier. I think I said to you guys several times, we need 3 things. Right now I only have 2 things. Oh, this 192 they gave me in the picture as well. Okay? And again, on the written, I put pictures for everything. On the multiple choice, I think there's one time when I just described it because I couldn't fit the picture in without using an entire new page of paper and the trees were getting mad at me. But I think on the other one that I have in my mind, I think I did put a small picture as well. So I can do this. And now I'm committed. Clay, on the left-hand side, I have 3 things. So I'm going to solve this horizontally. I'm going to say over here, t equals question mark. Turns out it's the same equation, Clay. It's going to be, again, since a cancels. Do you see this time I don't need to square root or any crap like that to get t by itself? How would I get the t by itself? Divide by t? I think that would not get the t by itself. If I divided by t, I'd end up with that. I think, yes, don't do that, right? That's a common mistake as well. I'm glad you did that because now I can yell at you for that. Divide by vi, so t is going to be the horizontal distance divided by the horizontal velocity. It's going to be whatever 192 divided by 21 is. .143, blah, blah, blah. I'll go 9.143. How does that help? Now, I would have no problem, Nick, giving you this question, 21, 100, and just saying, what's the time of flight? Okay. That would be a good multiple choice question. But I actually said, find dy, the vertical distance. Did I say vertical? Now I'd go walking to vertical. I could put this here. And I want to find that. I'm looking for an equation that has the same one. D equals VIT plus a half AT squared. Why didn't I write the VIT?
Yeah, 0.
Horizontally, this is why horizontal is so nice, Vy initial is 0. So A, negative 9.8, times this number squared times a half. That's your height. It will, Cade, give you a negative answer because you are ending up below. I think I said to you, technically height's a scalar. So if you wanted to ditch the negative in your final answer, you could. But Kyle, I won't take marks off. Are you guys okay taking it the rest of the, going a half times a times the 9.143 squared? I'll let you crunch that on your own because we want to get lots done. So that's one written question. Also, you're going to see ground at an angle. You hold this. I'm trying to remember, I may even have gone in this order because I think horizontal cliff is the easiest. By the way, they're all tough, but relative to each other, horizontal cliff is the easiest. I think ground angle is the next easiest. Cliff angle is the toughest, and that's going to be the last one. Let's let theta be, well, what's that look like? About 51 degrees. The danger when I'm making these up is I always worry that I'm accidentally going to make up an identical question to what I made up on the test because the numbers come from the same brain, but hopefully, no. Done that once before. Let's put a velocity on there. 16.3 meters per second. What could I ask here? Could do that. Range. Could say break it up into its components. Total flight time. Okay, so there's lots. I'll do the one that requires you to find a lot of that out along the way. I'll say range, because to find the range requires the total flight time. Oh, and if you take the total flight time and divide it by 2, that'll give you the time to top. Or what's the quick way to find time to top? When we're at the top, what do we know vertically? There's one more assumption we can make. Vy final is 0. I just want to make sure I would not use the 16.3. We're going to break it into components. We're never going to use the 16.3 again. Okay? So I would say here, Tyler, angle components. I would say, well, I would draw it in because it's a test. I don't want to take shortcuts. Right? I would go, hey, opposite, hypotenuse. Adjacent hypotenuse. I might notice that Vx is adjacent hypotenuse. Oh, I remember, of course it is. Dueck gave me that stupid shortcut. It's going to be 16.3 cosine of 51 degrees. .250, oh, 79. How about 10.258? What about the vertical? By the way, again, why did I put an initial there but not there?
Because there's no acceleration.
Okay, it's all starting to, hopefully it's all starting to glue together and come together and almost be repetitive. That's the goal, that's the goal, that's the goal. So Vy initial is opposite hypotenuse. You know what? It's going to be 16.3. Vy is sine. I wish there was a dumb easy way that I can remember that Vy was sine. I got nothing. I'll go 12.667. Sure, 5 sig figs is pretty good. That alone, that might make a good multiple choice question. In fact, if I did do that, I can even tell you what the answers would be. Answer A would be, let's say, the correct one. Answer B, I would have flip-flopped them so that you found Vx instead of Vy and you found Vy instead of Vx. Answer C, I might have done something silly by timesing by a 9.8 or something like that. You know, I'm trying to think about, for multiple choice, I try and think what are common mistakes, which is why I've tried to hint to you what the common mistakes are so you know not to do them, but that's also my way of telling you, this is how I make up answers on the multiple choice section, okay? But we're pretending this is going to be a written section, and we said, find the range. Is this a projectile? Well, that's a job for a T-table. Their angles, I already did components. So what's my T-table going to look like here? And on your test, raise your level of paranoia when you're filling out your T-table to avoid sloppy mistakes, because if you fill out the table wrong, you can do everything else right with the wrong numbers. Ha ha. So I really want to make sure I copy stuff down right. So I'm actually going to slow down a little bit here. I know this. I fill this in right away, and I get a little warm, nerdy thrill as I say, hey, it's no longer blank. I feel better. I've done some physics. Vx 10.258. Double check. Yeah, that's the right one. Vy initial 12.667. Double check. Yeah, that's the right one. Mr. Dueck, I can't see the picture anymore. I don't need the picture anymore. But Mr. Dueck, there's only 2 things in each column. Yeah. You said we needed 3 things in each column. Yeah. But there's a 3rd thing that I know. And it's so simple and obvious, it's tough. It really is. Because it comes from what goes up must come. Are we starting on the ground? Are we going to end on the ground? Is there a cliff in this question? No? Then I can tell you right now, I also know this. And that's the key to doing this question. Not 0, that would be at the top. Negative 12.667. Why? What goes up must come down. Okay? And now I'm committed. Is there a column where I know 3 things? Yeah? Well then, hey. This is where I'll find time. Actually, if they want it, by the way, I could find time now. I could use VF minus VI over A. Or, since they said find the range, I could go straight to using VF squared equals VI squared plus 2AD, because I know A, check. I know VI, check. I know VF, check. And I could just get the D by itself right now. I can find the range without bothering to figure out how long it's in the air for. If you're that lazy, I am. But if I wanted to find the time of flight, if I did ask that, there you go. Or I could go D equals VF squared minus VI squared all over 2A. Pause the video. Well, I should have gone on that rant online, but that's okay. You guys get what you paid for. You're giving up your free time. It's called an attention span, Kyle. Stay here. What's over there? Stay here.
That was Mitch.
It was Mitch? Okay, whatever. What else could I ask? Those are the big 3. Find the time of flight, find the range, or maximum height. And again, maximum height is actually easier. Let Vy final be 0. And, oh, you know what? You could find the maximum height from here where the Vy final is 0, for that matter. That would give you a... oh, you know what? I should have... oh. Dueck. You totally botched this. I apologize. No, this is humbling. This is humbling. What has been my rant? Never put a vertical into a... Never put a vertical into a... Never put a vertical into a... And you know what? I came up with this clever system. I used X's and Y's so I wouldn't get things mixed up. And I got sloppy. Because what did I say to find? Which is a D what? So down here, you know what I should have written down here? I should have written a dx right there. Which means what kind of acceleration should I use? And which velocities should I use? I'm an idiot. You can't solve it this way. God, can't believe I did that. No, Mr. Dueck, it's good. You know what? If I'd done that on purpose, that would have been good teaching to show you how easy it is. Sadly, full disclosure, I just totally botched that. What I have to do, so I'm going to erase the or. Can't do it that way. You have to, you know what? If I was clever, I would have said something like, you spend most of your time finding what? Why did I get away from all of my strategies? I got cocky on a test that was dumb. You spend most of your time finding time. And I should have gone, hey, vertical, hey, vertical, hey, vertical. And I can find time. I can put that number there, that number there, that there. Then, once I have time, it's going to be the same old, same old. I walk it over to here. I'm looking for an equation that has acceleration, velocity, distance, and time. Clayton's going to say, are you kidding me? It's still d equals vit plus a half at squared. I'm going to say, yeah. Clayton's going to say, yeah, but you wasted breath. A is 0, so it's going to be dx equals vxt, where there's the vx and there's the time. God. You know what? I'm keeping that mistake on YouTube because it's good for me to learn humility. I'm mortified, but that's okay. At least I caught it. Whew. The yuckiest one. Cliff at an angle. Oh, before that, also on the written, it's going to be a vector question. Okay? And it's going to be an airplane with a crosswind. And I'm going to give you the equation. The equation, and it's going to be on your test, is going to be V engine. It's on your test, but you can write it down if you want to. Whichever way the plane's engines are pointing, plus whichever way the wind is blowing. That's what gives you the ground speed. By the way, it's technically ground velocity, but I know at airports they call it ground speed, which irks me because that's a scalar and it is a vector. So I said, gives me the ground speed, and you can hear I hesitated because I know it's what they call it, but they really should call it ground velocity. It just irks me. But if you get your pilot's license, I guarantee they'll talk about ground speed, I think. Oh, W stands for wind.
Will we always be looking for ground speed?
No, I might ask you to find engine or wind, in which case, how would you get V wind by itself?
Minus the engine.
You might have to subtract a vector. How do I subtract? First of all, how do I add two vectors together? Draw them? Uh-huh. How do I subtract vectors? I don't. I cleverly turn it into a plus-negative question. Okay? What I will say on your test, on your quiz, I gave you a hideous cosine law question from hell. On the test, everything's going to be nice right angles. This test. So this test, you don't need the cosine law. You don't need the sine law. I'll get you in a couple of units from now. A couple of units from now, you'll need the cosine law and the sine law on 70% of the questions. But you'll get good at it. It's just eventually you get tired and you get, practice like anything else. Okay? I'll show you an example of a vector question if you remind me later on from the review. But what kids seem to struggle with the most is cliff at an angle. Cliff at an angle. Oop. What do I mean by that? Oh, it'll be, the pictures, I typed them so they're not as crappy as my hand-drawn pictures. But cliff, angle, okay. Oh heck, 21. Score was still 2-1 meters. Let's have it go pretty fast. Let's go 68 meters per second. That's going about 2/3 of a football field in a second. That's hauling pretty good. Maybe this is an arrow. That would go about that fast. And let's give it an angle of, what's that look like to you guys? How about 37 degrees-ish, give or take? dx, find the range. Pause the video again for a second. Is there a projectile? T-table. Is there an angle? Components. So here's my T-table. I'm going to make this one pretty big because this one is pretty ugly. Where that's AX and that's AY. In the interest of time, because I can see people starting to nod off, and I'm getting kind of dozy as well. Do you mind? I'm just going to say that Vx is going to be 68. Which trig function for Vx? Of course it is. And Vy initial is going to be 68 sine 37. I would normally draw it out and all, but I'm trying to cut corners a little bit here. You did last time. You did the whole question wrong. Shut up. 68 cos 37. 54.307. Yeah. Also, don't let me forget to give you a hint about the nasty multiple choice, the one nasty, and I'll give you a hint about the using principles of physics. You guys will get that because you're here. 68 sine 40.9234. I'll go 0.923. Okay. If I was nice, I would have given you the range and said find the height if I was nice. Because then you could solve for time on this side, which would end up being actually just like back here when we launched horizontally off of a cliff, you ended up with no quadratic. I'm not nice. Sorry, guys. I'm giving you the vertical displacement, and I'm going to make you find the range. So, you know what? Now here's the problem with this. If you don't put the negative there, you won't catch it because the quadratic equation probably will still give you a root, a positive time. And unless you're good at solving a quadratic completely in your head, if you could, I'd take my hat off to you, you might not catch it. So this is why I've tried to really emphasize, I've made this mistake on purpose, negative, and I want time. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
D equals VIT plus a half AT squared. We're doing again. But this time, son of a mother, nothing's going to cancel. Nothing is 0. It's going to end up being negative 21 equals 40.923 T minus, you guys okay with where the negative 4.9 came from? That I did in my head, Kate. I said it's a half times negative 9.8. Because it's getting a long, it's been a long tutorial already. What kind of an, is that okay?
Yeah.
What kind of an equation is this? Quadratic. How do I know? It's got a square. Hopefully all my stupid stuff from the beginning of the year is now starting to tumble into place and make sense. There's a reason why I repeat myself. There's a reason why I repeat myself. There's a oh, shut up. How do I solve a quadratic? Before I do anything else, I got to make it equal to 0. I hate having this, the quadratic term, negative. I've just learned over the years that's when I make mistakes. So I'm going to plus this to this side and minus this to this side. Sound effects are optional, but they help. And you're going to end up with 4.9 T squared minus 40.923 T minus 21 equals 0. And can you see here, if you didn't catch that negative, you'd have a positive 21. And I'm telling you, you'll still get a root, usually. What if we did do that? Probably, if you did everything else right, you get 6 out of 7. Maybe even 6.5. I'd have to look at my marking scheme. I'm very reluctant to punish kids for transcription errors. I really want to give as many part marks as I can. Do you guys want me to use the quadratic formula? If you want me to use the quadratic formula, raise your hand. Okay, you know what? All right. First of all, I got 3:42. Right now, I have a feeling I'll be done at 10 after 4. Yeah. Are you guys okay? Do you have? I'll do both. If you guys have enough time, I can do both. Okay. I cleared my calendar till 5 o'clock. So, but I don't want to stay that long. Although I will. Please don't make me stay that. But I will. So, let's do this. What does Q period F period stand for? Okay, here's the quadratic formula method. So it's going to be T equals, you know what? I'll write it out first. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Who wanted the quadratic formula method? Louis, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a solver? Oh, okay. If you did, I would say if you wrote that, you go straight to the answer and I'd take your word for it. But no solver for you. If I was a good teacher, I would have got on a rant about, you know, good calculators and stuff like, shut up. Okay. Negative b, so it's going to be positive 40.923 plus or minus the square root of negative 40.923 squared minus, holy shnikey, 4 times a times c. By the way, a good habit, you'll notice what I tend to do is I put a little drop down at the end of my square root so I can clearly see what's inside the square root and what's outside the square root. I've never seen it in a math textbook. I stole it from a wise math teacher, and I went, oh, that's brilliant, because sometimes later on when you look at your work, if there's a number at the very end, is that supposed to be inside or outside? I can't remember. So I do that. All over, A is 4.9. What's 2 times 4.9? Hey, good old G. Is that okay, Lewis?
Yeah.
Let's pretend this is a test. I'm not cutting corners. I'm not taking shortcuts. By the way, you know you have a quadratic solver on that thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, later. I'm not taking shortcuts. So the next thing I would do is I would go 40.923 plus or minus the square root of, and I would rewrite them. I would get what's inside the square root, probably like 7 or 8 sig figs. Oh, hey, I have this number here, so I'm going to go like this. Negative answer button squared. There's that part right there. Or you could retype it. Minus 4 times 4.9 times negative 21. Oh, geez, really? Oh, times negative 21. The times didn't go for a second there. I thought I'd lost everything. Double check. That squared minus 4 times, it looks good. Inside the square root is going to be 20863.3264. 2086.326.433. See, I'm rounding off, and then I'm rounding off some more. And the more I do that, the more error I introduce. So I'm trying to carry extra sig figs to deal with that. It's going to be bracket 40.923 plus the square root of 2086.326433. And on my calculator, I have to close off the square root. Then I have to close off the top. Divided by what? Okay. Now, shortcuts. You may have noticed when you're using this, you get one positive value for time, and you get one negative value. Can we have negative time? If you want to quit without finding the negative root, I think that's clever. There is going to be a negative root out there too, Brandon, but don't waste your time. If you can find it if you want. Nick, go ahead. You know, if you want to, I got to find everything. Fine. But I'm going to go with 8.8367, 5 sig figs. Those of you that want to use V final, can do. You would go like this. You would say, okay, Vy final squared. You'll notice I'm so embarrassed now I'm putting the y's back in because I don't want to make that mistake again. Equals Vy initial squared plus 2ay dy. I want to find Vy final. Right now I have Vy final squared. How to get rid of a squared? The whole right side is going to get square rooted. So the final vertical velocity is going to be the square root of 40.923 squared plus 2 negative 9.8. What was the displacement? Negative 21. So this is for those of you that don't want to use the quadratic formula. You'll notice I can't find time using VF equals VI plus AD because I don't know VF. I got to find VF. 40.923 squared plus 2 times negative 9.8 times negative 21 square root. By the way, notice that number is this. We're doing the quadratic formula in chunks using this method, which is kind of cool. Except we're rounding off, so our fifth and sixth decimal places aren't going to match anymore. I got 45.6759 blah blah. 45.676. And I'm wrong. This is the tricky part with this method. Why am I wrong? Okay, that part, unfortunately, this is a scalar equation, and it's going to give you a scalar answer. You have to then say, I'm pretty sure things fall down. Why is that so handy? Now, I can go time equals V final minus V initial over A. Except vertical, vertical, vertical. A lot of work, I know. It's going to be negative 45.676 minus V initial. V initial was 40.923. All over negative 9.8. And with a bit of luck, Kyle, we're going to get something, at least the first 3 or 4 decimals will match. I hope. First 3 or 4 sig figs, I hope. Bracket, negative answer button, negative 45.7676, minus 40.923 divided by negative 9.8. Did it? Yeah. 8.8366. Yeah, we're not done. We spent most of our time finding time. It's not what the question wanted. The question wanted us to find the... Oh, I'm going to go back to the horizontal column, and it's going to be, if you haven't noticed the pattern already, Clay, it's going to be dx equals vxt like ground at an angle. It's going to be dx equals vxt like horizontally from a cliff. It's going to be dx, what happened to the half at squared? A is 0 horizontally. So the final step, I'm not going to finish it, would be to go, which time? The 8.8366 or 67. Which v, oh, x, which was 54.307. Can you, if you have your ultimate review, can you get it out? What was the hey, you want some hints? There's going to be some conceptual questions. What do I mean by a conceptual question? Well, let me see here. I like number 4. I like number 4. I like number 4. Number 4 is a nice question. I like number 7, I like number 7, I like number 7. Number 7 is a nice question. This would be a nice kind of a, either if I turn this into a using principles of physics, or this might be a, well, this is our using principles of physics right now, or I could turn this into a multiple choice. Let me show you how I would turn this into a multiple choice question, because I think there is, I have one in my mind. Give me a second here. I like number 9, I like number 9, I like number 9. Oh, now, this is an example of a nastier multiple choice question where I'm having you find a velocity. When I put in brackets magnitude and direction, that's usually a hint that it's a slanty. 2.5 seconds after lunch. I would consider part B a little trickier. There is no B in front of it. Yeah, I know that somehow vanished, but the second part there, the 4-mark part, a little trickier. I like number 12, I like number 12, I like number 12, I like number 13, I like number 13, I like number 13. I like number 15, I like number 15, I like number 50. Oh, here is an airplane-ish question. And in fact, here they're asking you to find the wind. This would be a good example, Cade, of not finding the ground speed, but finding something from the other side. Okay, so this would be a good answer to your question. I like number 16, I like number 16. Number 16, this is ground at an angle, except they didn't give you a picture. On the test, I'll give you a picture. Okay, but there it is. How long does it take the ball to return to the ground? Find time. Oh, and then find the range, which you do with finding the time. I like number 17, I like number 17, I like number 17. 17 is a nice question. By the way, it says it wants the change in velocity. What's change in anything? What was that? One more time? Did you say minus? Would that suggest subtracting 2 vectors? Would it? I don't know how to subtract. Oh, I don't subtract 2 vectors. Instead, it's final. I write the final one down, minus the plus negative initial. Okay? There's your little hint. Yeah, not wild about that one. That's 2 physics 11. 22, I like 22, I like 22, I like 22. So 22 is ground at an angle, find the range, and then part B, when it says comment on the horizontal and vertical components, did they say components? I'd probably draw a t-table. And if I drew a t-table, what would I write right away about acceleration? Which one? Okay, you could say AX is 0 constant, AY is negative 9.8, also constant. Which velocity is constant and unchanging, VX or VY? VX. Why? Because A is, which velocity is changing then? VY. Why? Because acceleration vertically is not 0. Okay. No. Sure, 24 is an example of a vectory question. It's rivers. Think airplane, and that works. 25, so here's a good example. Is there a cliff?
Yeah.
Horizontally or at an angle? Did that give you the vertical distance or the horizontal distance? Here's an example of where I give you the horizontal distance, and I'm willing to bet part B, are they asking find the height? Yeah, there you go. I like that question. I like that question. I like that question. That's a nice question. Oh yeah, I had said earlier, how would I write a component question as a multiple choice? Something like number 29 would be a great way to do it. These questions, there are going to be a couple of questions like this that I call chart questions. The best way to handle them is to go down the first column, ignore the second column, put an X or a check mark next to the things that you think are right. Then do that for the second column. In fact, if you look at my answer key, what number is this, 29? Let me show you what I mean. Best way to handle it, there's going to be 2 or 3 chart-y questions on your test. I go wrong, yes, wrong, wrong. Then I solve this one. No, yes, no, no. Then when you zoom out, it's obvious. Circle B. That way you don't accidentally circle the wrong one, even though you did it right. Things I've learned over the years. Give me 5 minutes and I'm good to go. Yeah, whatever. 31, cliff at an angle. Although here, they're giving you the, they're giving you the time. You know what? I'm sorry, this is too easy. Once you have the time, I would expect you to be able to find the height or the range, but you're going to have to find the time using the quadratic formula or by finding Vy final. So 31 is a little too easy. You can nuke 32. I'm not going to ask you to graph stuff yet. Eventually, but not now. 33, is that a scholarship question? So that's overkill. 34, we haven't really talked about the graphs, so I wouldn't freak out about this. 35, we did on our notes. This is, I would consider, an A+ level question. I would not ask you this as a written. I might be okay asking you. Well, I will ask you as your nasty multiple choice. You're going to be finding a slanty velocity in some way. I don't think I have you hitting a wall. I think I kept it a little simpler. But
We don't have the wall.
I don't think so. No.
In our projectiles notes, you said that you had one.
I lied. In one, honestly, in another version of a test out there, it is.
Okay.
It's just not on this version. Okay. That's a scholarship, 12 marks, tougher. Okay. But I gave you some hints, things to think about. Really, if you can handle the 4 written things that I've gone over, that right there, you're in pretty good shape. You want to make sure you're okay with that, though. Any questions from any of the homework, from any of the reviews, from anything generally that you want me to go over? This is also your chance to ask. Yeah.
Like
Plane in the air?
Yeah, with the wind blowing.
So, like something like, where did I say the airplane? There was an airplane here.
The one that we had on the quiz.
Isn't that going to be on the test? You know, written question?
Something like this is a written, but not cosine law. It's going to be right angles.
Right, so
I'm not sure what you're asking me now.
this
That
one.
should be good. Oh, there was like one you had to do like sine and cos. Yeah, like that one. I don't know if that's
Where's that from?
Vector kinematics lesson 3,
Thank you.
and it's the
Dope.
airplane has an air velocity or engine velocity of 200.
In the question, oh,
Yeah.
that's way too far. Are there angles in the question in the description?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably too yucky. What was it again? This one here?
Example 3.
Yeah. So I would have no problem giving you this question if the wind was blowing exactly south. Oh, this is fine. Yeah, this is fine. Because look, due east, it's not at 30 degrees north of east. Due south, and look, what kind of a triangle did I get here? Right angle. That would be fair game.
This one's different. This one reads, there's a wind blowing.
This one, oh, this example 3.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Dueck apparently had 2 example 3s. Loser! Shut up. Yeah, I'm not going to give you one this tough. In fact, I would say this is a good one to look at. The second example 3, because it involves some subtraction. I like that question. I like that. Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
You told us a little bit on it.
Oh, I did? Well, that's clever of me. Wow, I'm way too nice to you. Is that okay, Nick? I eventually answered the question.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's subtracting vectors there?
Well, it says find the engine velocity. How would I get the engine velocity by itself? I guess I'd minus the wind to that side. Did I say minus? Subtracting vectors.
Simple does that though?
This is lesson 3, introduction to vectors, and apparently it's the second example 3, not the first example 3, like a complete idiot. Okay. I think in the did I give you some examples? I need to get a few more good vector examples. Oh, no, there are some I'm kind of seeing. So we're okay. All right. Any others? Going once? So let me pause the video.